They said records were made to be broken, but nobody expected Michael Jackson's Thriller to be dethroned. Not after 4 decades. Not on the R&B/hip-hop albums chart, and certainly not by a genre-bending artist who doesn't fit neatly into any box. And yet, here we are. SZA, the genre-defying powerhouse from Maplewood, New Jersey, has just etched her name deeper into music history. Her sophomore album, SOS, has now become the longest-running #1 in the 60-year history of Billboard's top R&B/hip-hop albums chart, logging its 38th non-consecutive week at the summit. That's one more week than Thriller, the untouchable classic that defined pop music in the 1980s and beyond. Welcome to celebrity rap life, where the red carpets never roll up and the spotlight never fades. The rewards are legendary. Because in celebrity rap life, every downfall can become a comeback, and every headline tells a deeper story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. For many, this moment isn't just about numbers. It's a cultural shift. A sign of the times. A recalibration of what longevity, impact, and sonic relevance mean in an age where streaming platforms determine what goes platinum and fans consume music through TikToks, playlists, and midnight drops. In that chaotic new landscape, SZA has become a constant. A compass. A voice that pierces through the noise. SOS didn't land with a whisper. It exploded. Dropping in December 2022, 5 long years after the release of her critically acclaimed debut Control, SZA's return wasn't rushed or forced. It was methodical, patient, strategic. And when it finally arrived, the audience was more than ready. Hungry, even. The album delivered, commercially, emotionally, sonically. And it hasn't let go of the public's imagination since. During the tracking week of May 23rd through May 29th, SOS clocked the equivalent of 47,000 album units in the US, according to Luminate. That's not just a random blip. It's a 2% rise from the week before, reflecting a sustained interest that many artists dream of but few actually achieve. At 129 total weeks on the top R&B/hip-hop albums chart without ever falling out of the top 10, SOS is no longer a new release, it's a cultural fixture. But what makes this record-breaking moment even more staggering is the context. Michael Jackson's Thriller didn't just sit at #1 for 37 weeks during 1983 and 1984. It redefined what it meant to be a global superstar. That album was a juggernaut fueled by groundbreaking music videos, relentless promotion, and iconic singles that live on in wedding playlists and halftime shows. Thriller held its position in a world without streaming, without social media virality, and without the kind of 24/7 global connectivity that artists rely on today. Back then, the Billboard charts were driven by pure album sales. People had to physically go out and buy the record, vinyl, cassette, or CD. Every number on the board was a direct result of someone handing over cash at a record store. SOS, on the other hand, exists in a different universe, one where Spotify streams, Apple Music replays, YouTube views, and social shares can all contribute to chart success. Some critics argue that comparing the two is like comparing apples to oranges. But maybe that's exactly the point. Despite the difference in eras, expectations, and ecosystems, SZA and SOS are standing toe-to-toe with Thriller. Not imitating it. Not copying the blueprint. But carving out something completely new and equally undeniable. Part of the magic of SOS is how it refuses to stick to one lane. The album fuses R&B with alt-pop, rock, hip-hop, and even elements of punk and country. It's unafraid to feel raw, jagged, contradictory. At times, it sounds like a heartbreak album. At other times, a triumphant declaration of self-worth. There's melancholy. There's rage. There's laughter buried inside tears. It's chaotic in the most honest way. It speaks to an audience that doesn't just want neatly packaged love songs. They want the truth, messy and unresolved. The commercial success of SOS was supercharged by several standout singles. Kill Bill, with its twisted narrative of jealousy and revenge, dominated the R&B/hip-hop songs chart for a staggering 21 weeks. That's nearly half a year of cultural dominance. The song became a TikTok phenomenon, a meme template, and a karaoke staple all at once. Its mix of fantasy violence and sultry production captured a specific emotional space that's hard to define but easy to feel. Then came Snooze, a slow-burning ballad that spent 13 weeks stuck at number 2, a bridesmaid, but never quite a bride. And yet, its staying power spoke volumes. It became the type of track that fans returned to over and over, drawn by its hypnotic hook and emotional transparency. Alongside Good Days, Shirt, and Nobody Gets Me, Snooze helped turn SOS from an album into an era. When the deluxe edition, Lana, dropped in December 2024, exactly 2 years after the original album, it reignited everything. More than a dozen new tracks were added, deepening the emotional arc and expanding the sonic palette. The new songs weren't just filler. They felt essential, revealing new layers of vulnerability, defiance, and spiritual reckoning. Fans and critics alike treated Lana not just as a bonus but as a full continuation of the story. The numbers reflect it, but so does the energy. On tour, SZA's performances have grown more ambitious and theatrical, with visuals that blend sci-fi imagery with intimate storytelling. Her fan base spans generations, genders, and geographies. Teenagers cry at her shows. Grown men sing along to I Hate You with abandon. Women find pieces of themselves in her lyrics, whether they're in the middle of healing or falling apart. SZA's music offers space for contradiction, to be soft and strong, confident and uncertain, loved and overlooked. Even in interviews, SZA speaks with a mix of candor and vulnerability that makes her feel both relatable and mystifying. She doesn't pretend to have it all figured out, and that honesty cuts through the carefully managed narratives that many pop stars maintain. She talks about her insecurities, her perfectionism, her battles with imposter syndrome. And yet, here she is, at the top of the game, breaking records once thought untouchable. What does it mean, really, for SOS to eclipse Thriller on this one specific chart? On paper, it's a landmark achievement. But on a deeper level, it's a signal of generational change, of evolving taste, of the way the music industry has transformed, and the way SZA has managed to thrive inside that transformation. Michael Jackson was a king in an era of gatekeepers. SZA is a queen in the age of chaos, where the rules change every year and algorithms decide what gets heard. Her victory is both a personal milestone and a generational moment. There's a poetic symmetry to it too. Thriller was an album about monsters, paranoia, desire, and transformation. SOS is about survival, about the internal monsters, about heartbreak and the ways we cope. It's about endings that feel like drownings and recoveries that don't always feel triumphant. And in that emotional honesty, SZA found her own kind of universal appeal. The beauty of this achievement isn't just in the number, it's in the timing. SZA didn't chase the spotlight. She didn't force the record. She simply made the album she needed to make, and then the world caught up. It's a story of patience, perseverance, and the power of deeply personal storytelling. And that's a legacy that's going to outlast the charts. This story is far from over, and the truth is still unfolding. I want to hear what you think. Drop your take in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next.